I remember a little girl, 10 years old, standing by herself. She was 25 pounds heavier than girls her age. Some called her fat. She had tears rolling down her face. She was just turned down from a school dance because she was fat. All what she wanted to do at the time is to become invisible. At that moment, it did not matter how many times her mother told her how gorgeous she was, and it didn't matter how many times her father told her he loved her. She just wanted to be invisible. That day will affect the rest of her life. It will impact her relationships and her self-confidence. She goes home, but instead of crying, she dances some more, like there was no tomorrow. That was her first rebellion. That was her first sense of no limits. That little girl will grow up to be a successful entrepreneur, a happy woman and a good wife. She will stand on a stage exactly like this one, talking to women about success. I know that little girl. That little girl is me. They call me the fear whisperer. Before fear became my friend, it limited my life. It suffocated my potential and my vision. I grew up an unconventional way. I grew up as a diplomatic brat. Every 4 years, we had to move to a new country. A new country, people. Not a new zip code. Not a new state. A new country. I had to constantly readjust myself to new people and new countries. With every move, I would put limits around myself. I would obsess if they would like me, if they will take me in, and most importantly, will they see me? At the same time, I was just trying to be invisible. I did not want to get close to anyone. Why should I? I didn't want to get hurt when we had to leave again. And that affected basically the rest of my life. I found comfort in food, and I gained a lot of weight. I grew up in a culture that does not necessarily respect women, where women's rights are not necessarily the norm. But I knew since I was a little girl that being a doctor meant power and respect, and I wanted both. So I went to the Cairo University of Medicine to become one. What I didn't know is that the price that I would pay for power and for respect will be my own happiness. I hated my session. I dragged my feet to these lectures. I put limits around me. I could not imagine that this will be what the rest of my life would look like. Fear whispered, and I made a choice. I pushed through. I found myself a job at Pan American, and this will later affect my career. I had my father's blessing as long as I graduated and did not quit. He knew I wasn't a quitter. So at 21 years old, I graduated from medical school with double bachelor of internal medicine and surgery. I majored in psychiatry. Let me ask you this. Do you remember what you were doing at 21 years old? I remember very clearly. I packed my whole life in one suitcase and moved from Egypt to Los Angeles by myself. Yes, by myself. I might have as well moved to a new planet. When the plane landed, I remember telling myself, what did I do? The first thing I quite remember on Century Boulevard were the painted traffic lanes, and most importantly, that cars stayed between these lanes. I was not used to that. My survival instinct kicked in, and I knew that for the first time, I can honestly say that I can live with no limits. Fear whispered again, and I made a choice to push through. I succeeded to numb my fears, not realizing that numbing my fears will numb my other good emotions. Pain, resentment, and anger took reign of my life. I lashed at everything and everybody. Internally, I felt ashamed and guilty. And for months at a time, I would just have insomnia. I was miserable. They say that you need to hit rock bottom. I remember that day. Big, puffy, red, teary eyes, a runny nose. I looked in the mirror and I said, never again. I decided at that moment to remove the limits I put around myself. I decided to take responsibility of my life, to own every single thing that happened into my life, have gratitude for it. I felt actually blessed that whatever happened to me made me who I am today. My travels, the different cultures, the different people, made me an international cultural competence consultant. I was lucky to learn and speak 5 languages. I learned to value people for who they are. And I learned experience firsthand. My first lesson is to value people for who they are, not who I want them to be. And never, ever judge anyone, as I would have no idea what they have been through. It helped me in my personal relationships and friendships. Professionally, it helped me in leadership and employee engagement. My second lesson is that my freedom here and here starts from within me. That no one can take that power from me. My second lesson is that I can control everything on how I react to whatever throws at me. It's true. I can't really control anything that life throws at me, but I can control everything the other way. I can control my actions, I can control my reactions, and it's up to me. I'm the problem and I'm the solution. So I rather choose the solution. When I took responsibility of my life, I started opening myself up. I started being positive. I started feeling again. I made myself visible. And I met the love of my life at a Starbucks. During these 17 years, I changed industry 3 times. I excelled in my international marketing career. I opened offices all around the world. I trained employees worldwide. And I consulted on international projects. Life was great. I had it all. Inner peace, loving relationship, and a great career. Then, life first blow comes in. In 2003, I went to visit my family in Egypt. I got legally stuck. Legally stuck in a country that I did not know. Away from a country I considered home. Away from everything I knew was normal in my life. Most importantly, I was away from the man that I love by no fault of either one of us. Fear whispered, and I didn't know what to do. It wasn't all. My father had suffered a stroke. My mother had a bypass surgery. My little sister was diagnosed with both liver and breast cancer. I mean, if it wasn't that sad, it would be like a bad comedy movie. But it wasn't. Unfortunately, it was reality. Fear whispered, and I knew that my worst fears came true. My life was crumbling around me. Every single day, as a team, my husband and I will fight an unfair system. But I would not know the meaning of normal for 4 years and a half. Fear whispered, and I knew I had a choice. I had a choice to feel sorry for myself and ask why me, or a choice to open myself up to the universe, to let it teach me what it needs to teach me. I wanted to go through the journey and realize why this happened. And I did. After a couple of months in Egypt, I realized reality set in. I found a great job at an international management consulting company. I became their global marketing and business development director. Soon enough, I had 3 departments under me. So my third lesson is this. Everything that happens in my life happens for a good reason, even if I fail to see it at the time. And let me tell you, there was nothing logical about it. But I had faith. Things were getting a little bit normal. Then the second life blow came in. My father, my rock, my role model, passed away. I had never experienced such pain in my life. It tore me inside. I still feel a void inside of me. It changed my whole life. My sister, they had given her 1 year to live. She survived 5 years. Fear whispered to her, and she made a choice. She made a choice to fight against her pain. No cancer, no chemo, no falling of her hair multiple times will stop her. She made a choice to live. She has 2 children, little boys, and she had 2 jobs till almost the last week of her life. When she was drifting away, she said, I did not give up on life. My body gave up on me. Unfortunately, when my little sister passed away, we were not in good terms. And that will haunt me for a few years to come. Still a little bit. So my last lesson is to learn to forgive and to forget. To forgive yourself and to forgive others and to forget. You cannot forgive without letting go. They have to go hand in hand. Christmas of 2007, 4 years and a half to the day, with the help of my husband, I returned back home. I found another corporate executive job. It was easy for me to do that. In 2010, I started my first business. For the first 9 months, when someone would tell me, what do you do? I would say, I'm starting a business. I wanted perfection. Yeah, right. Actually, it was procrastination that was rooted in fear. Till one day, my husband called me out and he said, Sahar, not baby. Sahar, you're not starting a business. You have a business. Act like it. It was a wake-up call. Don't you hate it when they do that? Mr. Know-it-all. Today, my business is a 6-figure business. I have been interviewed on radios. I consulted on documentaries for Netflix. And my opinion is seen on international projects still. Last year, I was honored and awarded as an inspirational woman. Last April, I stood up on a stage exactly like this, being nominated as a woman breaking barriers. Let me tell you, it was awesome. Every now and then, I still ask myself, was I just in the right place at the right time? Are they gonna find out that I don't know what I'm doing? Are they gonna make fun of me? And every time I tell myself, it's okay, I'm a work in progress. I wear a rubber band around my wrist. When fear whispers, I snap it so I can reset my brain and breathe and go forward. Some days, my wrists are really, really red. I am the fear whisperer. When fear whispers, I make it my friend. I look at it in the face and I accept you. You're part of my past, a little bit of my present. I made friends with you. Thank you for letting me peek into the future. I accept you're part of my life. You're okay. When fear whispers, I make a choice. I have my wings up high and I fly and soar to no limits. The next time fear whispers to you, what would you do? My name is Sahar Andrade. I am the fear whisperer.